Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I create knitting videos and tutorials to help you on your knitting journey. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make the cardigan. Obviously you clicked on the video. This was one of my very first designs that I absolutely I love it so much. So this short sleeve version is the one that I made up and it is so beautiful. I made this from a baby alpaca yarn, and it's a yarn called, it was the Monna Lisa. So I named the cardigan after that, and it's called the Monna Cardigan, and it's meant to be like a French style cardigan, which I really love. It's got self-cover buttons. Yes, that's a thing. Self-cover buttons, some cute detailing on the sleeve and some cute detailing on the bottom hem here as well. And it's like a V-neck, it's like a high V-neck as well. And I think it's really, really cute. So this is the one I made in a short sleeve and I love this, but now it's coming into winter and I'm realizing I don't really have a long sleeve one. I lied. This is the long sleeve one, and this was my very first one I ever made, and I didn't make it with a pattern, so it ended up being really big on me, like really just oversized. It's not the size I want. So actually after recording that, I actually started wearing this a bit more because I didn't really wear it and I actually really kind of love it. I don't mind how big and oversized it is, and it's really comfy. Like after wearing it for a while, it's actually really nice. I just need to seam in these loose ends that I still haven't seamed in after like 3 years. By that I mean 1 year. Works with these jeans particularly. These are high-waisted jeans. So yeah, that could be an option for you guys as well if you prefer like something a bit more loose, which I think is really nice with this. And it has still that like retro vintagey feel to it. So the yarn I'm going to use today is I can't even juggle with two, is this Mochi Barocco yarn, which is really cute. It's this very similar feeling to the baby alpaca one. This is baby alpaca 2. So it's a very similar feeling, and it's got like a really cute colourful design thing to it. You can see like it's got all these little flecks. I'm going to make a long sleeve version of that. I feel like I haven't spoken to anyone for like a really long time, so now that I'm speaking, it's like I'm so tired from speaking, like I'm running out of breath to speak. So that's what I'm going to be making today, and if you guys are interested, you can knit along with me. So it comes in nine. It comes in 9 sizes. Yeah, that's 9. Yeah, so you'll find the size you have, I hope, and you can find it in the link below, in the description below, and we will get into it. So to begin, you'll need your pattern, the needles for your pattern, which I keep in my handy interchangeable needle set here, stitch markers, and a yarn needle for the end, which I keep all in a handy container anyway, self-cover buttons if you plan on doing self-cover buttons, and your yarn. So like I said before, the yarn I'm going to use in this pattern is the Barocco yarn with the baby alpaca, because I just love these types of yarns for their warmth and the lightweight feeling. But because I filmed this part after I actually finished knitting everything, all I have are these scraps, but here is what it is basically. Other yarns I recommend are the Gedifra Monnalisa, which was what the pink cardigan was, or Wool and the Gang Feeling Good yarn as well. Because I am a yarn snob, these are pricey, but I know that these have been sourced ethically. However, other alternatives you can use, which are a bit easier on the hip pocket, are the Drops Air, which I've never personally used, but I've heard good things about, and it comes in a much more affordable price range. And of course you can use any other yarn that you want as well, as long as the gauge is met. So that brings me onto the perfect segue of doing a gauge swatch. Usually here I'd had footage of my gauge swatch, but I actually didn't do one. You should definitely do as I say and not as I do. So onto the design. Basically the design of this is a vintage style cardigan. As I said before, I use this beautiful baby alpaca yarn, and the piece is worked top down with set in sleeve designs, and it's got a slight puffy sleeve at the top, The sleeve tapers down into a really nice little design at the bottom, and then you'll work your ribbing on the sleeves and also on the hem, and if you do decide to do self-cover buttons, those will be worked as well. So I kind of already got into this the night before, but basically I started with the neckline and worked these 2 ribbed pieces before seaming them together. Then I cast on the stitches and picked up the stitches for the back neckline and then worked down. Here you can see I picked up for one of the fronts already, and to do that essentially you just transfer the stitches from the neckline and then pick up for the shoulder, and then you'll have both of your fronts. Okay, so I wanted to show you where I was up to with my piece now that I've worked both the front pieces. Does that make sense? So this is kind of what it looks like, and it definitely looks like, but if it does look like that, then you are on the right track, and that's the inside, that's the back side there, and it sort of sits like that. I don't know if you can tell, that's like sort of like a cardigan coming together. And so it's about 5 o'clock now, and I am going to probably work into the night on this. So I did manage to work it down a little bit just so you can see how it joins together there at the underarms, and you've got yourself an almost cardigan. This is definitely Saturday morning because I just woke up and I clearly needed coffee. So I would actually really love to work on, don't show anything. I would really love to work on the sleeves before I keep going with the body really, but I can't justify cutting off this ball of yarn to do that. So I think I'm just going to continue the body on, or maybe I should do the sleeves. I decided to eat some eggs instead, and I don't really understand why people actually like watching other people eat like right now. So I kept working on my piece and marking my territory. I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but my hair just gets everywhere. And I finally worked this to my desired length. You can of course measure it or try it on. I top down knit to try on because I have a much longer torso and really no legs, so that's why I have to adjust a lot of my patterns. Next I worked what I call in my pattern the basket weave stitch. It's basically this really nice detailing, and it's worked using twisted stitches, which I'll show you here. You just work into the back of the second stitch on your left needle and then into the back of the first stitch on your left needle, and then you take both of those stitches off. And then on the other side you do the same thing, but you purl into the second stitch and then purl into the first stitch and then slide both of the stitches off the needle. And then by the end you should have this really nice detailing along the edge. So to work the sleeves, you basically have your sleeve on the side here, and you just pick up your stitches around the sleeve for the first round, and after that you place your markers for you to determine where your short rows are and also your increases, and then you just follow that and work it around. To work your short rows, you just work back and forth on the needle for a while before continuing working in the round only, and this creates a really nice set in sleeve style for you. So if you're like me and you actually spent most of your Saturday getting wrecked in video games, then you probably wouldn't have made it really far. Sorry if you can hear a heater, the heater's on. It's freezing this morning and it's really gloomy, and I'm hoping this lighting's okay. I'm gonna finish this sleeve hopefully today, and then I can work on the bottom here, which I still haven't finished yet. So, Monday. I actually continued working this for a few days, but eventually I got to a point where it was the length that I wanted. Ta-da! I would put both arms up, but I haven't put my buttons on yet, so I am not going to be revealing anything there anyway. But this is pretty much what it should look like when you're done. Because I didn't do that gauge swatch, I'm going to wash and block it to not only even up the stitches, but maybe stretch it out a bit and enhance the puff in the sleeve a little bit as well, and maybe see if I can stretch it out a little bit, because my gauge was about like 0.25 off, maybe like the littlest bit off, so it's come out like a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to wash and block it, which I think will take a few days. I don't hate waiting a few days for things, but I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you guys the final product at the end.
While you're waiting for your piece to finish blocking, you can work on your button covers if you are doing self-cover buttons like I am here. To be honest, I have no set rules for this. I just sort of cast on stitches and tried them over the buttons as I went. I do have it written down in the pattern, but I would suggest going by eye to get the best results. So I did make a few changes to the original pattern. They weren't really anything big, but a lot of my patterns are customizable for everyone because not every body type is the same. So a few adjustments I made personally were the armhole length. I made it a bit higher because I wanted to have a more fitted look. The length of the body I made, I think I wanted to make it shorter, but it didn't end up being that way. I think it ended up being similar to what's in the pattern. My buttonholes ended up being further apart, and that's mostly because I forgot the second buttonhole about an extra centimeter out, and then I did it, and then I just realized I had to make it all even for all the other buttonholes, so that's really the only reason. I added also a little side selvage as well you can include in your pattern, and that just creates a nice neat edge along here. And the sleeves I made slightly shorter, mostly because I was using one ball of yarn and I didn't want to have to cut a whole nother ball of yarn off to do a few rounds because I just don't like that. I dropped my camera, now the lens won't extend. So for my first styling, I did a really simple cardigan with black jeans and a little neck scarf for that little French sort of vibe. Next, I worked it with a big collar. I absolutely love big collars and I think they go with everything, and I think this really worked for that vintage vibe that I was going for this. Next, I worked it open with a really cute summer dress so that you can wear it summer, spring. For an autumn look, I went for a turtleneck underneath and peeking out at the wrist as well because I thought it'd be really cute. If you're like me and you had leftover yarn, I also made a matching beret to wear, and this is my Amelie beret, which I do have a pattern on as well. Next, I worked it really casually, just with some jeans and a belt, and then I also had extra leftover yarn, so I made this scrunchie to go with it. Since the recording of this video, I have lost this scrunchie. I wanted to take a moment for all of the scrunchies, hair ties and bobby pins that go missing every day. It affects every single woman who uses these and every man who stops playing their games in order to help her search for them. So I went for a really 90s look, and I think the best accessory for a 90s look is this yo-yo. If you did not have this on the playground, you were not cool, and this one lights up, so I am pretty much the coolest, I think. So I don't really have an end to this video, but thank you for watching through all of my awkwardness, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you make your cardigan as well. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks!